Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. We come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, the world has gone mad. I am absolutely convinced of it every day, several times a day. You're checking the headlines. What now? What is happening? And it seems like to me it just gets a little further off kilter every time we look at it. We all, of course, are aware of what happened in the shooting, the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. And I look at the individual that was shooting at him, and of course, he's dead, he's gone. But you say to yourself, how does all of this happen and what has gone wrong in our society? And, you know, the responses to that question are endless. I guess I should back up a minute. This show is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, millionkids.org. We are a local 501c3 nonprofit organization. We survive at literally the generosity of our donors, people who believe in our work and support our work and make donations to our organization. This organization for the past 15 years, right here in the Inland Empire, has been combating sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and online social media exploitation. We have served as the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. I believe we have the very best human trafficking task force in America. We have several men and women who lay their lives on the line and go out and get the worst of the worst. And our job is to educate you, the public. And also, we provide all kinds of services for combating this. We do a lot of prevention and intervention work. We train law enforcement. We train school officials. We train faith-based leadership. Can't even say that. Anyway, but we also do Million Kids Missing Kids. One of the darkest times in a parent's life is when a kid has fallen in love with someone on the internet, or they've hooked up with somebody at the mall, and poof, they are gone. And yes, you go to law enforcement and they will do all that they can to try to focus on finding your child. But the truth is there's about 600 runaway teenagers in any given month here in the Inland Empire for both the San Bernardino and the Riverside law enforcement agencies. So what happens there is they contact, the parent will often contact Million Kids. We must have a police report number to do that, by the way. We don't want to get caught up in a custody battle, but we will do what we can to help that parent by getting literally tens and tens and tens of thousands of flyers going out. When you see all these flyers, if you're wondering where they're coming from, various agencies, we work together with that to do that, and your donations make that possible. We also provide a lot of other services for what you may not realize, things like romance scams, even adults that get involved in kinds of crisis. We have a private investigator that supports our work and works heavily in child sex crimes, and so can do a lot of the background check, even cell phone forensics on there. So we provide a lot of different services. But one of the things that I do is do a lot of education for prevention. And I will tell you that my heart has been heavy, as I'm sure yours has been, over the past few weeks as we've watched our nation seem like it's in one of the frailest stages we've ever had. We have open borders, and open borders leads to human trafficking, both sex and labor trafficking. Here in the Inland Empire, we have a corridor coming off from the southern border of people, and many of them are very fine people. They're coming in without documentation. I would prefer to know who they are and be able to decide should they come in or don't they. But in the last few years, that has not been possible because of the beliefs and also the legislative activity of the state and the federal nation. So we do a lot of counseling. We do a lot of intervention. One of the things I want to talk about today, though, is this idea of the importance of establishing family values. And I share that with you because most of us, I think, feel, um, for lack of a better term, impotent. The power has been removed in many cases. We look around at what's happening in our society and say to ourselves, how in the blazes did we get here? I saw a story this last week where literally almost 100 kids were inside a C-store up in the Bay Area and just pummeling it, taking what they wanted, destroying the things around them, endangering the people that work there, just completely taking away the value of that business. And I say to myself, there's nearly 100 of these kids. Do they have parents? How were they raised? What led them to the point that they believe they can go in and take what is not theirs and literally destroy other people's possessions and livelihood and threaten them physically? What led so many people to come to a point that it's okay to do that? And where were the parents of those people? And where are the people assuming responsibility for their action? I look at that young man that shot at Trump, and yes, he's passed now. And I look at that and say, everything in his background indicates that he never would have come to that point. In many ways, my heart goes out to his parents, who must surely have raised him with some level of values. They seem like that they are as appalled as the rest of us. And you say to yourself, how did that kid arrive at that space in his life that decided that it was okay for him to take another person's life? He was employed. He seems to get good grades in school. He seemed intelligent. He was bullied from everything we can see. But does that give you a reason to come to a point where it's okay to take another person's life? There's another thing that is happening that in the work that I do that brought me to this idea that we need to get back to the basics. And that is a case. And by the way, I hope you follow millionkids.org. If you do not, please go on and sign up for our newsletter. We're pretty lousy at fundraising, so we won't pound you to death, and we don't sell your name to anybody. It is a way to get good information about what is happening in the world of social media exploitation and other types of issues related to that. And one of the stories that came up this week is coming out of Australia. The headline said that the principals say parents need to be vigilant and explicit they need to be vigilant as explicit AI deepfakes become easily accessible to students. So what happened here is out of Australia, but this is happening all over the US. And that is when individuals went in, and individuals specifically, and decided that they were going to take photos offline of innocent young girls, at least 50 of them, and created what is called artificial intelligence generated fake nudes, okay, NUDS. So he took normal photos of people and altered them so that they were in nudes, and then he passed them around the school. More than 50 kids had their images violated online. And this is a very serious crime. And it is a crime that we are going to be seeing by the millions in the future. I say there are many good uses for artificial intelligence, including finding online sex crimes. However, every one of us will become a victim in the future, as anybody in the world can take our normal picture offline and alter it with all kinds of nudity and sexual innuendos and then begin to blackmail. We have got to start to talk with our family, with our children, with each other, with our folks at churches and synagogues about digital morality and the values of what we stand for. But we also need to be prepared to know that in the future, every one of us will become a victim of AI-generated fakes at some time. This is Opal Singleton. It is break time. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, let me tell you about my favorite restaurant in Riverside, Monarch Asian Bistro. The atmosphere and decor are simply stunning. The service is great too. It's a wonderful environment for a romantic dinner or a family get-together. It's not just another Chinese restaurant. The Monarch Asian Bistro is upscale and it serves Thai food as well as unique Asian-inspired dishes that are just fabulous. My favorite is the pad see beef. My husband likes the orange chicken, and the Chinese chicken salad is always great. Our friends sometimes order the Emperor's Choice or Monarch steak. It is my favorite go-to place. Go ahead and give it a try. It's Monarch Bistro in Riverside, Canyon Crest Town Center next to Ralph's. They are open for lunch and dinner every day but Tuesday. Go ahead, give it a try. You're going to love it.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello, and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are talking about AI and artificial intelligence generated nudes and what's going to happen there. And then I want to talk about family values in relationship to that. So this happened to be one of the stories that appears at millionkids.org. You can follow us on Facebook. You can also go to Million Kids Supporters on Facebook. That's a private page. We also have Instagram. We have all kinds of social media to educate you. The Million Kids Facebook with the Million Kids Supporters is the best one for you to be on. And be sure and enable your alerts on there, your notifications, so that you are alerted when these stories come out. So this story happened to come out of Australia, but we are seeing stories like this as much as twice a week. And I believe we're just getting started in this case. So it's 2 private schools. And what happened is that they had an individual. He had already graduated from one of the schools there, and he got a hold of the images of more than 50 girls, and he literally altered them with all kinds of nudity and sexual innuendos going on. One of the quotes, it was gross, it was disgusting to see something like that happened to people in and around our community. The series of explicit fake photos were created by AI using real photos of the students taken from social media, and then circulated the altered photos up on Instagram and Snapchat. The perpetrator is a teenage boy who was a former student in there. And they have arrested him and they are in the midst of charging him. Now, keep in mind the legislative activity, whether it's Australia or California, has not yet caught up to this particular crime. And they're still trying to figure out how all of this works, because you're seeing what is happening is these kids are under the age of 18. If they're in California and their image has been altered so that sexual content, that is called child pornography, which is now called child sexual abuse material. The short form of that is CSAM, SAM, child sexual abuse material. But in essence, anytime a photograph or a video or a live streamed image is created of a sexual nature of someone under the age of 18, it is CSAM. And when you do that and you manufacture it, that is a crime. When you distribute it, it is a crime. But what happens now if it's the face of an individual, but the sexual images are generated by technology? Then how does that work? Because it isn't really the sexual part of it, isn't really that person. Of course, it's purported to be that person. That person suffers greatly. They get embarrassed and they are literally humiliated around school. Now, I believe we have to teach our children empathy, because I'm going to tell you, every one of us in the future could be a victim of that. And we also need to create laws so that these people can still be charged, even if it's only artwork, because you are literally slandering the image of that individual. Some of the apps and websites used by the users say that they're 18 years of age. But what they're trying to do is let the app company off the hook. Now, there needs to be pressure on these app companies, because they now have the bots and algorithms to run their platforms and find any kind of nudity or sexual images of anyone under the age of 18 and remove it. And they need to be charged to do that. They need that responsibility to do that, even if there's no legal charges going on. This is very serious business as we enter into the world of technology. And I share that with you because the company, NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they helped pass a law that asks the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, like that, to go in and use their algorithms and remove what they can on it. And the numbers are staggering. In 2023, they went from taking 4 million leads of potential CSAM cases to literally having 32 million, an increase of 28 million. So that tells you the amount of child sexual abuse material that is online, whether it is self-generated, whether it's generated by somebody else who's blackmailing them, or whether it is created by artificial intelligence where it's been altered, a perfectly innocent photo has been altered. From here on out, what I want to talk about is, how do we deal with this as families? You know, so many bad things have happened over the last week with the attempted assassination of Trump, and then seeing things where you're having people violated with the artificial intelligence, and seeing things where literally 100 kids go into a store and dissolve it with absolutely no sense of empathy or consideration for what they've done. Where I come from on this is that I cannot change the world, but I can change myself. And I cannot impact the entire world, but I can impact those around me. And I believe it's time for families to stop and decide on family values. And I think this has to be a deliberate action. This sounds a little preachy. I don't mean it that way. I want it to be a conversation. I want you to think about it. You know, one of the things that I know about myself is that I got my values from my family. And they weren't always right on a lot of things, by the way. And there were many times I disagreed. But I look at my family and my parents' families, and I realize that I am a product of their valued conversations, the things that they talk with me about. And I want to talk a little bit about having those kinds of conversations over the next couple of segments of this radio show. I think it's time for us as families. You know, one of the things that's happening in social media is that there's going to be a massive amount of outside input. So it is time for us as families to sit down and identify what we believe in, put it in writing, have group discussions with your family, with your parents if you're an adult, and with your children to define who you are and what you stand for. I think this might be the most important gift you give as a parent, as a grandparent, to the next generation, because this next generation is going to live their life in that technology world. There will be millions and millions and millions of people sending your children messages and statements from the outside world that you won't have the ability to counteract. So I do believe that it's important now more than ever that we sit down and start to define our values as parents and as a family. I was talking to my husband about it. One of the things we loved was watching was Blue Blood and Tom Selleck. And every Sunday night they sat down. Now that family didn't agree with each other. There were plenty of rifts going on back and forth between the different people, and girlfriends and boyfriends coming in and making statements. They didn't always agree, but they treated each other with respect. But what was more important was an illustration of time spent together without social media, without outside input, without the TV on, without all the music going, where they could sit down and have honest and open dialogue. It is inevitable. Members of families are different people, and they're not going to agree. And then they grow up and marry outsiders. Maybe you disagree with them even more. But it gets to be interesting. What is interesting is how do we teach our children to have empathy and listen and respect? And I want to talk about the importance of that. Here's a quote from Psychology Today, which, by the way, I don't always agree with. But anyway, family values are the fundamental beliefs, principles, and norms that guide behavior, attitudes, and interaction within a family unit. These values shape the family's identity, their culture, and their cohesiveness. They influence how members communicate and relate to each other and navigate life's challenges together. I think that is powerful. And if there's ever a time in our lives that we need to bring our families together and know who we are and what we stand for, it is today. This is Opal Singleton. It is break time, so stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses.
and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. So I'm talking about family values. I really want to talk about that because as I've studied technology over time, and many of you that follow me know that I often talk about the fact that in the last 3 years, we have experienced a technology transformation unlike any other time in history. You know, it covers all kinds of technology. Now, in many ways, in a health world, that's been good. They've discovered a lot of kinds of treatments and ways to deal with diseases and like that. But we also have connected the entire world for the first time. I like to kid that it's the first time since the Tower of Babel, but I'm not sure that's really theologically sound. But for the first time ever in history, our world connected by internet. Now, most people don't understand the impact of that, but what you now have are criminal groups out of Nigeria and Pakistan and Philippines that come into your child's life, sometimes at 3 a.m. if they're sleeping with their phone, and starting to blackmail your kid. And this is just getting started. It is absolutely going to be everywhere. And we need to start to teach our child to live in a world without borders, because that's exactly what's happened. Instead of having 45 friends on Facebook, they're going to have 5 million impacts on a daily basis. If they're on games like Roblox and Fortnite and things like that, they're already there. If they're on dating sites, they're already having to be very careful who they talk with. So you have things like artificial intelligence where every one of us will become victims as somebody goes out and takes a perfectly normal photo or image or video and literally change it. You've got the same way with news. Your child will not be able to determine what is real and what is not, and you probably won't either, because of the fact that much of your news now is AI generated, and it depends on who programmed that AI generation about what slant that is going to take on. You have things like money transfer on all of your apps now so that you can be blackmailed or your child can be blackmailed. And that's exactly the way it works. They wait till your child is in the weakest position, like in the middle of the night, or maybe they're playing a video game with a lot of sex in it and they're hot and heavy and having a good time, or maybe it's when they've had a fight with a friend and the kid is down, and they can access them and then immediately start to find them money, and our kids have a way to pay. So, and most of your stuff has geolocation software so they can figure out where you live and where your child is at any given time. We're just getting started. But where I'm coming from about the idea of values is that there are going to be a lot of people that want to teach your child in a way that you don't agree with. that influence your child. You're already seeing it in schools as they don't want to tell a parent that your child is going to sit through a sex change class, that they have a right to decide what sex they want many times before they go through puberty without telling a parent. They're already gearing up a society to influence our children and take them out of the realm of influence by the family life. This drives me on to share with you that I think it is time to take a targeted action, a definitive decision to start to sit down with your family and say, this is who we are and what we stand for. It is often important for them to understand their roots if the roots are around in your family. Understand what grandma and grandpa went through, what their life was like that gave you the life that you have today, and what your life is like that is giving them the life that they have today. And the reason for that is to teach them respect. Teach them respect for self and others, and valuing and acknowledging others and individuality. Recognize that you're not always going to get along. You're not always going to agree on much of anything, but we do respect each other. We respect the boundaries of each other. And even if we disagree, it is important to teach each other with dignity. I think we need to get back to the idea of love. And love is not self-serving. Love is about caring about others and yourself and finding ways to express that. Support them in their choices, but let them know that you admire what they're doing and the growth that they're getting. But I do think that teaching children cognitive reasoning and good decision making is one of the most important skill sets we're going to need in the future. Read some articles that are out there that have been doctored or they are swayed in one direction or the other. And teach your child to think through those discussions, because your child is going to be given a whole lot of information one way or the other that you may not agree with. This is obviously something that may have happened in that shooter with Trump. And the family must surely be saying, how did we get from here to there that this individual decided to go out and take other individuals' lives? And, those are discussions that need to be happening way back very, very young. I think it's important that we talk about forgiveness. Other people are going to violate you. They're going to do you wrong. They're going to hurt you in ways that you never really expected. But what is important there, and I say this from the Bible, I'm not trying to get real religious on you, but, it says, the Lord's Prayer, help me to forgive others the same as I am forgiven. And those are things that we need to understand. Empathy. I cannot stress this enough. The need to teach your child empathy when others are wronged, that they go out and not reject them, not bully them. This is going to be so important. Right now, what happens in school is a kid will get a photo out there, especially a girl, and then suddenly there's all this sexual videos that are going out there or photos that are going out there, and the girl can't go back to school. She's totally rejected. It's horrified. She's judged and she's rejected. We need to talk about empathy for that. Because of the fact, and this comes back to digital morality, by the way, talk to your child. It is not okay to alter somebody's image and put them down and bully them and reject them at school. This is going to be a situation where every one of us are victims in the future. So we got to get past this, and we need to have that dialogue of having empathy for people that have been wronged. And even if that person is, those are real photos of them, you won't know if they're real photos or altered photos. They need our empathy. They need our support. So we need to begin to have these conversations in a digital world about having forgiveness, about having empathy, about caring about each other, and also about what we do online is important. I think this is really an important conversation because so much that takes place online now is animation. And so kids will tell me, and I hear it all the time when I'm out there, sex on the internet is not sex and killing isn't killing. I get that. I see the video games, you're killing people all day long. But there needs to be that dialogue. And I do find this an interesting time in our society. We take a hormonal kid at 11, 12 years old, we put them on the World Wide Web where they can interact with millions of people, and then we feed them full of animated pornography in which they get points for having animated sexual activity online when it's over. And there needs to be that discussion. Is it okay to kill a cop online? Because there is a very fine line in that child's mind between what is actually happening. And I believe those kinds of dialogues need to take place about what is okay and what is not okay. No wonder our children become victims, especially young guys. And believe me, I'm not against technology. For those of you who haven't heard me before, I often say technology is like a car. You can take it off to a university and get a degree. You can take it off to a strip club and get yourself in trouble. It is not the car, it's how you prepare the driver of the car. Okay, but we do not put little kids behind the wheel of a car. But this generation is taking 12 and 13-year-old kids who are hormonal and putting them on the World Wide Web where they can talk to millions of people that can not only alter their image, they can arrange to meet up with them or blackmail them. We need to have those family value conversations. This is Opal Singleton, and it is break time, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and I am talking about the need for families to sit down, write out, discuss, come together with your ideas of what is important in your family values, and everybody should give that input. There's lots of subjects that you can cover in this kind of thing. Talk about things like gratitude. I think that is just so important. This generation of kids, it's interesting because in many ways, they have been raised with more wealth than any generation before them. Now, are there homeless people out there? Absolutely. Are there families struggling financially? Yes. You might be a family that doesn't even own your own home. That I get that. But however it is, I have traveled around to foreign countries, and as poor as we are wealthy by most standards. And that's important to share with your child, that they appreciate who they are and the family they're born into and the assets that they have, even if they may not be financial assets. I remember it used to be, we're the Larson family and we're proud of it. We have each other. We're winners, we're achievers, we're going someplace, and we're going to be strong together. I think that that's very important. I also think that it's very important in a home that one of the values is that you create a safe environment, an environment where you can retreat and feel like that it's okay, an environment where you're going to be accepted. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't improve some things, but it's a place that is safe for your whole family. I think it's also important, and this is easier said than done, but parents be role models. That we look at our parenting lifestyle. Are we dominating? Are we judgmental? Are we controlling? Are we demanding? Or are we people that listen to our kids and exchange and interact? And how do you feel about that? And what's your thoughts on this kind of thing happening? And letting them know, we are people that have values. Some of our values are that we're going to be independent people. We are going to accomplish by ourselves and working with others. We're going to be a generous people. We're going to give to others. We're going to support others. We're going to be listening people. There is such a need for listening in this world. I can't tell you how deep that is in my life at this point. People need to be able to be heard. They have ideas they want to share. I think it's important that we talk about freedom. You often see bumper stickers, freedom isn't free. Well, this generation hasn't been really raised in wartime. Yes, there's the Israeli war that is going on. There have been other wars, but it hasn't been like World War II or the Vietnam War. And so they may not understand how all that happens. It might be good to see some movies about that. I think it's important that we talk about communication styles and being able to share how you think or how you feel or what is right or what is wrong. I think it's important that we have tolerance for other people's differences. Now, that's easier said than done, but we talk about how that works, that we can agree to disagree but not hate. I think that it's important to talk with your child about knowing who they are. What are their talents? What are their strong points? Maybe take some time out this summer to try out a bunch of things. Do they like the outdoors? Are they hikers? Are they people that want to go boating or go to the beach? Are they people with musical skills? Not me, by the way, but musical skills. And if they are, can we develop them? Even if it's like playing in a band or something like that. Are they people that like participating in giving back projects like like projects of schools or going in and helping remodel somebody's house and that kind of thing. I think all of those are important points. What I really want to stress here is that in the future, and even right now, there seems to be a movement in our world, especially here in America more than other places, that it is okay for young people to go out and take away other people's rights while dominating their own. By going in and taking what is not theirs or destroying property or tearing other people down, it is okay to protest and announce your feelings, but it is not okay to go in and destroy other people's property and to protest peacefully. So all of those are values that I think are important. Where I'm coming from is that in this next generation, parenting will be completely different in that you are going to have more outside influence on your child than any generation before you. And that means to me that we need to stop and take a look at parenting and influencing and grandparenting, by the way. Grandparents can get away with stuff that parents can't get away with, by the way. So don't be bashful. It really is important, Grandma and Grandpa, that you share your values, that your thoughts, that if you find something not good, that you share that and help them believe and help them understand that they are a product of a long generation of people who fought hard and long to be successful, to be independent. And you want to use that freedom in a way that helps others and also that helps you build strong character. That's really where it's all about. Is parenting is about building character, and you only have a short time to do it. But with so much outside media, you are going to have less and less time. And I think it requires a strategy. I think it just requires a discussion between husband and wife, mom and dad, to talk about what is important that we instill in our children and what works for us to do that. Now, I don't mean this as a lecture to you. It may sound like that, but what I'm trying to do here is to open your eyes as to the world that is a fast-changing world. You know your family, you know each other, you know your lives and what is important to you. And so I'm just suggesting that you take the time to think that out. And you might have to start with yourself. What's important to me before I can get to my children? Because in this day and age, with so much outside input, it is often difficult to decide what's important to you. I myself struggle with that as I watch all the media. And of course, I do a huge amount of research. So I see a lot of crime. And I say to myself, what is important to me? I feel like I have less and less impact and less control as all of this artificial intelligence is changing everything, and you don't know if you can believe what you're seeing, let alone what you're hearing. And of course, artificial intelligence, they'll modify videos. So even if you're watching a YouTube, I say to myself, is that real or is that doctored? And even though I'm a professional in this business, I can't always tell you. But we need to prepare for this next generation. It is exciting, but it's also a bit intimidating. But I believe we're strong people, and it is the greatest time in all of history to be alive. And the greatest calling of all time is parenting and grandparenting in this generation. I believe that we need a strategy and we need to think it out. We need to take inventory of our assets and also of the threats that are out there. And we need to decide what is best for our family to prepare for the future. My name is Opal Singleton. The organization is called millionkids.org. If this is helpful to you, I hope that you might consider donating. We are in this process of making a series of videos. They are 1-minute videos for kids. You know, I've sent a nude. I'm being blackmailed. What do I do? You know, my child has sent a nude. What do I do? I'm being seduced online. Somebody wants me to join up and meet up with them. Is it okay? We're making a series of 1 minute and 2 minute videos for kids and then longer ones for parents. And that takes money to do that. If you want to support this cause and support that activity, I'd surely appreciate it. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We're not into corporation building and becoming a big corporation. We are about getting this message out. We've been in business 15 years, so we're very reputable. Go to millionkids.org, log on, learn about us. I hope you'll follow us and maybe even support us. In the meantime, I want to say that, while it's a fast-changing world, the world is still a good place. I look around and I am grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for my work. And I'm grateful for all the people that support our work. This is an amazing time to be alive, and I'm glad I get to be part of it. Hey, folks, put your arms around your family and let them know how much you love them. We'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.